Hello, we did our project on Estela Atequana, who is a geobiologist. And this presentation is done by Brennan Sollenberger, JJ Ringling, and Jin Kim. Life. Estella was born in Cameroon in 1961. As a kid, she was told that geology wasn't for girls, so she took that as a mental challenge and pursued it as a career, and eventually proved everyone wrong. She was a first-generation college student that got a bachelor's from Howard University. And after she received her bachelor's degree, she decided to proceed with her education and got her PhD from Dalhousie University. And in her respective careers, she worked towards promoting diversity within all of geoscience. Accomplishments. She was known as one of the founders of biogeophysics after her very thorough research on hydrocarbon degrading microbes that were producing carbon dioxide and organic acids into groundwater, which was increasing electrical conductivity on contaminated soils. This research was done in US Air Force bases where they found that there was weird kinds of conductivity coming from contaminated grounds, and Estella was brought in as part of a group to help figure out what the problem was, and through her identification process, she really helped found the field of biogeophysics. Afterwards, she's worked as a professor and mentored many top-tier graduate students. And she's also served on committees such as the American Geophysical Union Honors and Awards Committee to help further the appreciation of scientists in these pioneering fields. And here are some of the awards that they give out in that committee.
So, what actually is geobiology? So geobiology, it kind of spans over a lot of different disciplines. This includes geomicrobiology, biogeoscience, geophysics, molecular biology, and a bunch of other fields. It's a really broad field. Um, and it really just circles around the fact that life is everywhere and it finds its way into almost every crevice of Earth. Most geobiologists are looking at more microscopic organisms, not really macroscopic organisms. This especially includes extremophiles, which are basically life forms that can exist in very extreme environments. So be that like really hot or really cold, extremely acidic or basic. One example of this is these microbial mats that you can see in the top right that are found in Yellowstone National Park. This is a bunch of different bacteria that is thriving in 70-degree water, and it's just really interesting to study because they're surviving in such strange conditions. Geobiology also really looks at just the evolutionary interconnectedness of life and Earth. I mean, Earth is obviously the only planet that we know of that has life, and so it's looking at the geological implications of that, how they're like connected and how the evolution of life goes along with the evolution of like the Earth and the environment on Earth. Um, a lot of geobiologists also look at the origins of life, which a lot of theories right now go to that the origins of life on Earth were from these hydrothermal vents in the bottom of the ocean through abiotic chemical reactions that actually created the first forms of life. That's what a lot of scientists, a lot of geobiologists believe at this moment. So why is this actually important? It it really just provides another element of the of our understanding of Earth. You can obviously look at Earth from many different points of view, from different geological points of view, from like the surface to deep down, what's going on underneath the Earth. And this is really looking at the Earth from a biological perspective. This is similar to paleontology, and paleontology kind of includes this biological perspective, but most paleo research provides a geological perspective on biology, not a biological perspective on geology. And that's really what geobiology is doing, is giving that kind of perspective. And then, like I talked about on the earlier slide, one of the really important things is just understanding the origins of life. I mean, obviously, humans are really interested in like the nitty gritty things, like the formation of the universe and obviously the formation of life and where it actually came from. And that's one of the big parts of geobiology.
Relation to Geology 1. The picture left there is from Laboratory Book. The animals lived in supercontinent before the tectonic. However, right now, the different species and same species live in different continents. For example, this is Mesosaurus. Mesosaurus were living in bottom of supercontinent. However, right now we can discover them in South America and Africa. Let's see another example like plant. This is Glossopteris, and Glossopteris were grew in the whole of supercontinent, like middle from the bottom. But right now, the fossil forms of Glossopteris can be found in South America, Africa, India, and Antarctica and Australia. So geologists and biologists can help to know history of plate tectonic, and that's what we learn in lab second in plate tectonic. Another example is geologic timeline. Geobiologists can help how organisms affect the Earth, and vice versa, as well as history, how Earth changed in the history. So, for example, the different era living different animals, like Jurassic era, they were living in T-Rex and Cenozoic. Right now, we're living in human. So different, as I mentioned before, different era living in different animal. Geobiologists help you to decide how the land or continent, fossil or rock. We can also know how these are old. So it contains about lab 9, which is geologic time, and this is what we learn in week 10 to week 12. So thank you. This is the source that we used for the presentation, and thank you. And thank you for listening.